a commentary for you on a poem that I've been meaning to publish. It's called Al-Munfarija. It was by a famous scholar, Andalusian originally, Ibn Nahwi. And one of the things about this poem, since the 6th century, it's been used as a source of succor and solace for the Ummah. In fact, at the very end of the Ottoman Empire, they actually had this poem calligraphed around the throne room at the Topkapi Museum, which is now a museum, then a palace. And Tajuddin, Imam Subki says that it's mujarrab, which means that it has been tested and it works. So it's a poem. Originally, Imam al-Ghazali wrote the Munfarija, and his Munfarija is nice. It's not as, I think, well, Ibn Nahwi's just got a type of qabul. Imam al-Ghazali got enough qabul in so many areas. So God gave Ibn Nahwi qabul for his Munfarija. So Imam Ghazali's Munfarija is less recited, but the poem is, it was meant to be written at times, read at times of difficulty that afflicted the Ummah. There have been very interesting commentaries on it, one of them by Shaykh al-Islam, Zakaria al-Ansari, and also by Hassanein Muhammad Makhluf, one of the great muftis and really one of the last scholars who died in the early 90s, one of the last truly great scholars of our Ummah. But it's a beautiful poem, so I thought we could look at some of the meanings. He begins it by saying, "Ashtadi azmatu tanfariji," which means increase, O crises, in order to cease. Increase, O crises, in order to cease. In medicine, well, in naturopathic medicine, I don't know about allopathic medicine, but in naturopathic medicine, they have something called healing crises. In the Hadith in Al-Bukhari that the Prophet ﷺ, a man came and he said his brother was having diarrhea. And so the Prophet ﷺ said, give him honey. Well, honey, for people that know, if you take a lot of honey, you'll get diarrhea. So he said, give him honey. So the man took the honey and it got worse. And so the man came back and he said, he got worse. And he said, give him more honey. He took the honey, he got worse. Give him more honey. And he said, كَذَبَ بَطْنُ أَخِيكَ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ وَكَذَبَ بَطْنُ أَخِيكَ. Allah spoke the truth, فِيهِ شِفَاءُ لِلنَّاسِ. And that your brother's stomach has lied. Ibn Qayyim in his book Antib al-Nabawi, he says that what the Prophet was indicating was that this was a healing crisis, that the man needed to have his bowels cleansed. And that's why he gave him the honey, to actually create a healing crisis. The Prophet ﷺ used to clean his bowels once a year, and he would use senna and to completely empty out that. In fact, interestingly enough, in the Maktubat, one of the things that Imam al-Mujaddidi says is that it's a good thing to do in the last 10 days of Ramadan to completely clean, remove all the waste, especially before Laylat al-Qadr, so that you actually have no waste in you when you do that. Imam Ali said that he was amazed at a man, كيف يتكبر الإنسان, because he said that he begins as a أوله قذرة, أو مذرة, ووسطه عذرة, like And he said, وَآخِرُهُ نَتِنَا. He begins like from a vile fluid, and then in his life he carries around foulness in his midsection, and then at the end of his life he's just a stench. So he said he's amazed at people that can... It's interesting that we have that expression in the West, he's full of crap, because that's basically what that's indicating, that a person should be more humble.